Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Tuesday, the 18th of January 2022, and we're producing our regular morning update, providing prices, news, and economic data. Today we see gold and silver prices fall as oil prices rise. Against the prospect also, interest rate rises happening sooner than expected. So let's take a look. Welcome to Illuminati Silver. It's Tuesday, 18th of January 2022 at 11:31 in the morning. We're running slightly later than usual. The news today is circumspect, really issuing us with some cautions that things may not be as prosperous as they may first seem. First of all, we can see surging bond yields send Nasdaq futures tumbling. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Prime Minister Johnson under threat, how the UK Tories get rid of their leaders. And we have it on quite reasonable authority that some of the top Tory or Conservative Party senior members are now moving to get rid of Boris Johnson. And it's not just an idle threat. Europe car sales plunged 22%, punctuating worst year in decades. And Europeans rushed to reduce energy use as household bills soar. So it's actually quite difficult to see some good positive news here. And Brent oil jumps to highest since 2014. We'll look at that too. Let's see what's happening or likely to happen to the equity markets. Surging bond yields send Nasdaq futures tumbling. German 10-year yields are on the verge of turning positive. Ongoing crude oil rally underscores global inflation pressures. Treasury yields surged. Nasdaq 100 index futures tumbled and global stocks were dragged down by concern that central banks will have to raise rates sooner than expected. Treasuries fell across the curve, pushing 2-year and 10-year yields up to levels last seen before the pandemic roiled markets. In Europe, benchmark yields on German debt were on the verge of turning positive for the first time since early 2019. US stocks were poised to drop when the market reopens from a holiday, with Nasdaq contracts down about 2% and technology stocks down in pre-market trading. Tech also led the retreat in Europe, while energy shares fluctuated and Saudi stocks rallied. Brent oil surged to the highest level in 7 years, underscoring the inflation challenge facing the Federal Reserve. Easing concerns about the impact of the Omicron virus strain on demand, together with shrinking inventories and geopolitical risks, are contributing to forecasts of $100 per barrel crude later this year. And this was something we've been saying over the last few days. You may remember, if you listened to our previous video, we hearkened back to warnings of $100 barrel oil. We said we didn't quite get there last time. But don't be surprised if we do this time. And it's now coming to the fore. Europe car sales plunged 22%, punctuating worst year in decades. Europe's car sales slid during December for a 6th month of declines in a row, showing the extent of the uphill battle automakers are facing in the chip supply crisis. Passenger car registrations dropped 22% last month to 950,218 vehicles. New car sales fell 1.5% last year, when automakers had their worst ever showing since the association started tracking the market in the early 1990s. And we've mentioned oil. Reuters hit it. Oil prices hit 7-year highs as tight supply bites. Benchmark oil prices climbed to the highest level since 2014 on Tuesday as possible supply disruptions after attacks in the Mideast Gulf added to an already tight supply outlook. Business news for the BBC. Pay rises failed to keep up with the cost of living. And all that will do is push people to demand even higher prices. But the knock-on effect of that is what we're seeing in our supermarkets. Aldi, one of our largest lower-priced supermarkets, open its first till-free supermarket. It will bill people after they leave the store as part of a trial using new technology. And I think we mentioned a couple of months ago that Tesco were trialling a similar situation in London. All these jobs where people are saying we're not earning enough, and probably in many cases are not, will be gone as robotics, new technology and artificial intelligence eventually will replace the majority of basic task-oriented jobs. Morrison's confirms sick pay cut for unvaccinated staff. US and Canada. US airlines warn of impending 5G flight disruption. Airlines say the start of 5G mobile phone services on Wednesday will hit aircraft navigation systems. Thousands without power as US hit by winter storm. Let's have a look what's happening to the dollar. Up a little bit today at 95.3. Energy prices, as mentioned, rising. WTI crude now $85 a barrel and Brent crude $87.50 a barrel. Equity markets, well, obviously yesterday was a holiday for the United States, but we've mentioned that the futures market are predicting falls on openings, and we've seen Asia Pacific overnight all down between 0.25% and this morning UK, European, Middle East and East African markets, but we've got the Euro, the FTSE, the DAX and the CAC. So French, German, British, European indices all down 1% or more. Although the FTSE is performing the best, relatively speaking, at being down just under 0.7%. Well, there was no economic news to speak of yesterday because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. However, today we have the Empire State Manufacturing Index, which could have a slight impact, and the NAHB Home Builders Index. So we'll watch that one. That one may have a slight impact. It's not going to be significant, but it may tilt traders into one direction or another. Gold prices, obviously because of the likelihood of interest rates rising sooner rather than later, gold's been hit a little and is down nearly $10 today at $18.11, but still holding above that crucial $1,800 mark. However, we see silver fall 18 cents, so it's fallen below $23 and is now currently $22.89. As we've said repeatedly, the cryptocurrency markets tend to move in line with equities, and cryptos are down 3% over the last 24 hours, and the market cap has just tipped below $2 trillion. Bitcoin is now 41,700 and Ethereum 3,100, down 2 and 3% respectively. Things are not looking good economically, with interest rates likely to rise, fuel crisis causing various forms of hardships, and of course still the spread of Omicron causing governments to prevent the normal mixing of people, the normal going to work, and the normal production capacities. We'll see how all that plays out, but it doesn't really augur that well for 2022. Thank you so much for listening. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, press the bell sign. Until our next video. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.